Good evening, champions. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. It's a privilege and honor to be back before you once again. I trust that your Tuesday has been a peaceful one, that it's been a blessed one. And I'm just excited about this topic. I'm thankful for endings and I'm thankful for new beginnings. If you're just joining me, let me know in the comments section so I can say hello, so I can say welcome. I trust that you all's new year is off to a good one. Mine's is off to a good one. And I'm trusting and praying that it's going to expand. Hey, Jetta. I'm not listening to President Obama because I do my podcast every Tuesday, so I believe in being consistent. So I'm gonna catch it after I finish. But I appreciate you asking me that question. Let some people know I'm live. By the way, how's your day been? All right, we're about to get it going. Well, good evening, champions. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. My name is Arian Tyson, and I'm in my office here in St. Louis, Missouri, and it is a privilege and honor to be before you tonight. And I will not be all night, but I do believe in providing value and really just giving you something to think about as you go about your day. I trust that your Tuesday has been a blessed one, that has been a peaceful one, and that your new year is off to a good start. And so, having said all that, I want to talk today about endings and new beginnings and how to turn an ending into a new beginning. And if you get value from this or value out of anything that I'm going to share tonight, let me know in the comments section, or feel free to share this on your Facebook walls so that it could be a blessing to someone else. And so for me, I look at every year as a chapter. And like chapters, all good things come to an end. All bad things ultimately come to an end. Trouble doesn't last always. And so what I've discovered is, it got me thinking. In every end, there's also a beginning. For example, a friend of mine hopped on and asked me why am I not watching President Obama's final address as president. That's signaling an ending and a new beginning. So it actually kind of fits along with the topic. And so what's one of the best times? Let me ask you this. What's one of the best times to figure out who you are and what you truly want? What I've discovered is in my life, it's right after a chapter in your life comes to an end. Every chapter in life has to come to an end sometime. And it's important to acknowledge and accept this, to walk away and carry onward sensibly when something has reached its conclusion. Closing the door, turning the page, moving on, etc. It doesn't matter what you choose to call it. What matters is that you leave the past where it belongs, in the past, so that you can make the best of your life that's still available to be lived. This ending you've experienced or I've experienced is not the end. It's just your life beginning again in a new way. And it's a point in your story where one chapter transitions into the next. Right now, in our society, this chapter that we've been under for the last 8 years under, current President Obama is coming to a close. And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, a new chapter is about to begin. And so what I've discovered is it's a point in the story of the U.S. where one chapter transitions into the next. Same thing with our lives. Whenever we go through something, it's a point in our story, in our individual stories, where one chapter transitions into the next. Having said all that, I want to share how you can turn an ending into a new beginning and start your new chapter with strength and conviction. One of the things that I've learned in my life is that when life does not go as planned, we have to remember to just breathe and remember that life's richness often comes from its unpredictability. We also have to remember that sometimes you just have to accept the fact that things will never go back to the way that they used to be. And that this ending is really a new beginning. And one of the most peaceful mindsets ever begins the moment you finally find the courage to let go of what you can't change. It is what it is. Accept it, learn from it, and continue to move forward. I was actually having a conversation recently with someone that I've actually been friends with on Facebook for 3 years now. And they actually shared that with me, so it really blessed me in my life. And it reminded me of the serenity prayer. And it talks about how, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next life. Amen. And what we need to remember is that the secret to getting ahead is when we choose to focus our energy not on fixing and fighting yesterday, but on building and growing something new right now, to be present in this moment. And That's something that's very, very important. It's very vital as we start this new chapter called 2017 and going forward. We can't live in the past. For a lot of us, the past is filled with pain. And you can only reminisce for so long until reality hits you in the face that, you have to be in this moment and you have to continue to move forward, because as long as you have breath in your body, it's not over for you, regardless to what happens in your life, regardless to the curveballs that may be thrown at you. You have to continue to keep moving forward. It's one thing to get knocked down, but it's another thing to stay down. And we don't have time to stay down. Learn the lesson in everything that you go through. That's something I have to tell myself over and over again. There's a lesson with everything that we go through. Everything that we experience in life, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's indifferent, there is something you have to do. Absolutely. You have to cherish the now and stay present. That's why the present is a gift. It really is a gift. And it's what we do with that gift that really matters. Also, we must realize that even if you have a good reason to be angry and resentful about what happens to you or how somebody did you wrong, don't. Instead, channel your energy into thoughts and actions that actually will benefit your life today. Because you can overcome any type of adversity. And I'm speaking as someone who's had their fair share of adversity. To me, when I look back on 2016 was just a year of adversity. That's what it was. No question about it. But you have to continue to learn the lesson behind it and move forward. Also, realize that your world can be an entirely different place than the world you lived in just a few moments ago, once your attitude towards it changes. My mom told me as a teenager, she often would tell me that your attitude determines your altitude. And at the time, I just thought it was just a cliche or just something that just sounded good. But there's a lot of truth to that. Because a lot of times people tend to judge you on whether or not you have a good or a positive attitude, or you have a bad or negative attitude. And it ultimately does determine your altitude, whether it's fair or not. It is what it is. We have to remember that whatever comes up in our life, whatever circumstances, whatever situations happen to us, the situation does not determine your response. You determine your response to that situation. For example, take a moment and pause and remember who you truly are. Take time to reflect on the things that have real and lasting meaning in your life. Relationships that you cherish, family, friends, loved ones. If you're married, spouses, your children. Those are the relationships. Those are the things that really matter. And if they don't matter, you need to take inventory. You really need to examine yourself. Because we all fall short at something. But, thank God for grace and mercy, right? We have to remember that when it's all said and done, life doesn't owe us anything. Life does not owe me anything. Life does not owe you anything, because you already have everything that you need. Something that I'm discovering, and I'm just thankful for the people that are around me now, the people that have walked into my life, and even the people that have walked out of my life, because they've taught me a valuable lesson. And that is that everything that I need, I possess already. It's already inside of me. It just has to take time It has to come out. And I have to tap into it for it to come out. And Kim, you're absolutely right. Because, if it wasn't for the Lord on my side, where would I be? If it wasn't for the Lord on your side, where would you be? Something to really remember. And it sounds old, but nevertheless, there's truth to it. So I'm willing to quote and stand on truth, especially when it has backup. What we must realize is not only does life not owe us anything, but we have to remember that you owe yourself the courtesy of making the best of your life. What are you doing to make the rest of your life the best of your life? Because you're only a product of your environment if you choose to be. You don't have to stay where you are. You don't have to be comfortable where you are. You don't have to just accept where you are. And the decisions that you make says a lot about you. But then there are times where you hesitate on making decisions, or you procrastinate on making decisions. So if you really want to know how to turn an ending into a new beginning, don't procrastinate. Don't waste your time wishing for a better starting point. Instead, make use of the real and present starting point you have and get going. Like Nike says, just do it. Because if it's been put in you to do something, and I'm learning this, and this was something that I struggled with for a long time, the how can be figured out, and the how will be figured out. And don't get so caught up on trying to figure out how that it prevents you from even getting started. And a lot of people have not gotten started on moving towards their purpose because they're too busy focusing on the how. And I can speak to that because that's been something I was guilty of for a long time, worrying about the how. But when you make a decision and you're willing to stand on that decision and you take the first steps forward, God will send people your way. And you will figure out how, because God has all the people in place and he has everything lined up for us, but he's waiting on us to make a move. And you often hear me say all the time, you can make moves or you can make excuses, but you can't do both. So when are you going to make a move? You have to get going. And then even finally in the midst of getting going, no matter how high you elevate, no matter how you ascend or how high you go, always remember that in any type of ending or any type of beginning, you have to be humble. You have to continue to be teachable, because the world is bigger than our view of the world. There's always room for a new idea. There's always room for a new step. And there's always room for a new beginning. The secret to a good life is paying more attention to the beginnings than the endings. So many people say they want a new life, but then they take the new one. They get every minute for granted. They take that minute for granted. They take every opportunity that they're given for granted. And if you're guilty of that, I challenge you, don't continue to do that to yourself. Don't do this to yourself. Don't hold on to what's no longer there. I'm going to say that again. Don't hold on to what's no longer there. Don't wait until your life is almost over to realize how priceless the present moment is. Like it was said earlier, cherish the now and stay present. Because the good life is here. It begins right now when you stop wanting a different one. Remember, there are 3 little words that can release you from your past struggles and guide you forward. If you want, you know what those 3 words are? From now on. Those 3 little words can release you from your past struggles and guide you forward from now on. When you have a from now on mindset, you learn the importance of making a decision. You learn the importance of stop complaining. Stop complaining and do yourself a favor and make a decision. Step out on faith and do what you know you're supposed to be doing. Don't worry about the how. Just make a decision. Because when you make a decision to do what you know you're supposed to be doing, what you're purposed here to do, the universe will conspire for that to become a reality. And you will find yourself being blessed and coming in contact, and doors will open up that you never thought would open up, and opportunities will present itself that you couldn't see from your own carnal eyes. But you have to take the step. You have to take the step forward. So I wanted to share that. Those are some of the things that you can do in turning an ending into a new beginning. Be thankful for new beginnings, because it means that something had to come to an end. And it also means that when you have a new beginning, that means that life is not over. No matter how bad that previous chapter was, it's just a chapter. It's not the end of the book. And you have a lot of ink left in your pen. You have a lot of ink left in your pen. So even though we all have chapters that we wish we could just rip out and toss to the wayside, don't stay too long on a chapter. Don't put a comma where it should be a period. Put a period and turn page and get to writing, because it's a new chapter. It's a new beginning. We're in a new year, 2017, and yours may be off to a good start. Yours may be off to a bad start. But that doesn't mean that the chapter has to end that way. It does not mean that. It's ultimately determined upon the decisions that we make. And I would rather make my own decisions than have decisions made for me. And if you think about it, you probably feel the same way as well. So I wanted to share that with you tonight. I wasn't going to be on here that long, but I felt compelled to share that, and I have to be obedient to what's in my spirit. We're about to, again, as I said earlier, we're about to start a new chapter in America with, this is, we're coming up on like a week and a half left with President Barack Obama, as our president. And President-elect Donald Trump is going to, be the next president, and he's going to take the oath of office. So, nevertheless, that's a new beginning, whether we like it or not. And he doesn't dictate the decisions that we can make and how we can, begin to live out our destiny and begin to move forward in our purpose, in our God-given purpose. So I wanted to share that tonight. I trust that it is of value to you, that was of value to you. If you did, let me know. Shoot me a message. Leave me a comment. And rest assured, I will be back next Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central. Thank you so much to everyone that has tuned in to this episode of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. It's been an honor to serve once again. My name is Arian Tyson, the Moving Motivator, and I will talk to you all next time. God bless.